And we are live again, WrestlePurists Worldwide, episode 76, hosted by myself and Joe Hulbert for the time being. Ibu, backup hangman, will be joining us very shortly. He's just running late, and it's the reason why we're late. So you can blame him because we was thinking, should we hold out and wait for him? And he just got too late to be doing that now. So here we are, me and Joe, getting us started. And we're going to do our usual Worldwide show, recap the weekend a little bit and just kind of get the week started, Joe. So, first things first, please like, subscribe, send any super chats, any questions, any takes, any predictions, any opinions that you want us to get read out, and we'll kind of, we'll throw them around a bit. Any topics you want us to talk about. Seems like we've got a little bit of an open show because we did the show yesterday. Went quite long on that one, so got a little bit of an open show to just talk about whatever again tonight. But yeah, man, hope everyone's doing good. Starting my fellow co-host, Joe Hulbert, what is going on?
Nothing much. I'm a little bit disappointed in our cohort's unprofessionalism. These are the
It's
major
time
leagues.
management.
These are the major leagues of professional wrestling. You can't be pulling this kind of shit in the indies, But I'd expect this kind of stuff at Late Night Grim, but not here at WrestlePurists. So, nonetheless, we proceed as always, fearless as ever, strong as ever. Today on the WWE 2K game, I unlocked the Tokyo Dome, which is actually called Japan Dome. Feel safe in guessing that it's the Tokyo Dome. Triumphant day for me. First time I've achieved something on a video game since probably 2006 or 7. So it's a glorious day here at Hulbert headquarters, brother.
All right, so we got an update from Ibu of WrestlePurists, better known
no.
some of you guys as backup hangman, and he said as of 2 minutes ago that well, he's late because he's doing his taxes. And he said that the federal government is trying to kill him, and his estimated time of arrival is in 11 minutes. That was as of 3 minutes ago. So we got countdown for Ibu, much like countdown for the Young Bucks last week, much like countdown for Cody.
Yeah.
A lot of funny countdowns in wrestling, But yeah, Joe, where do we start? Do we start with super chats or start with super chats?
I think we start with super because
fill out some time, wait for Ibu,
Yeah, we have stuff to talk about, but not really. We're being honest, right? We're just
nothing
pretending.
too urgent,
Yeah, so we'll just do super chats and we'll let that kind of shape the first segment or so.
I say not too urgent, but obviously the breaking news of Rhea Ripley's injury, that's of course the huge news. But traditionally we do start with super chats, so that is what we're doing right now. So as we wait for Ibu, get your super chats in, and we'll get to them right now. Starting with Andy, 100 rupees. Appreciate you as always.
Sidgwick, I think.
Sidgwick. Yeah. Sidgwick stated that over the last year with Cody, Rock, Punk, Drew, Sammy, Gunther, etc., WWE has become the best promo company, at least at the top end. Fair.
Probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah, because it's hard to argue those examples, isn't it?
It feels crazy because that would not have been my answer a couple of years ago. I think part of it is that also a couple of AEW's best talkers haven't been given the most interesting things to talk about, right? I think Moxley's one of the best promos in wrestling. He hasn't often had a lot of great singles programs. Eddie Kingston, we've talked about a lot. I wish when he got promo time, he would cut promos. I know he loves the bit about not wanting to talk, but actually, I think it detracts his best strength. He's a great promo. That list is pretty hard to argue with. So, yeah, I think it probably has shifted in that regard. I'm trying to think if I'm forgetting these big moments of promo guys in AEW over the last year. I don't know. Feels like it's less the case now than it was a few years ago. To me, anyway, off the top of my head.
It's less of a stark contrast as well compared to when the promotion first started with AEW, because obviously WWE had these painfully scripted promos, and even the subject of the promos would be ridiculous. It was just ridiculous all around.
Right.
And, AEW just felt a lot more authentic. Obviously, over the past couple of years with WWE, it's not nowhere near as scripted. Of course, the people that can just talk are given the room to just talk. Obviously, the most glaring example would be the CM Punk Seth Drew segment a couple of weeks ago, where they were just fucking they were just shooting the shit out there, you know. And even the report stated as much after that, you know, they were just kind of given a loose outline of what to talk about, and they just kind of went out
Mhm.
there and everything. But you can do that when you've got the talent like you've listed in the super chat, you know. AEW have the same caliber of talent to do it. It's just
For
they
sure.
have highlighted in the way that some of these WWE stars that have recently, especially with like Rock doing a Mania build, you know. So,
Yeah. I will say, I mean, it is surprising that, like, when I think of the best AEW promo guys at the minute, Osprey is like very much on that list, which I didn't necessarily see coming. He's been really good on TV as a promo, right? So you're right. I mean, they've definitely got strong promos there. We mentioned Eddie and Mox, Osprey, Joe. You know, there's a handful of guys. Joe's a great promo.
Joe's phenomenal. Joe's like an all-time promo.
Yeah,
So's
I'm still
Mox.
bummed.
So's
No
Eddie.
one remembers, indeed, no one remembers this or cares because of all that happened at Wembley. But it still bums me out that Joe and Punk didn't have like a promo segment building their match. I think it's like when people criticize things from First Run Collision, usually I'm like, it's fine. That was actually an insane
That was a
miss. That build.
stinger. Yeah, it
Like,
was.
how did they not do the head-to-head promo segment? Anyway, this is July 2023 podcasting. My bad.
Few complaints about Ibu in the live chat and the super chats. Darren Cage, he said with $2, gonna be Ibu of Cultaholic soon. Hashtag blame Ibu. Hashtag scam Ibu. Um, where's the
Is
other
he
one that
like
we was laughing at before we went live? Ibuza.
Ibu? That was I think that's the best one. Is he is Ibu gonna do like the John Morrison thing where he changes his name wherever he goes throughout his illustrious career? Because he's made it like it's
Nowhere
Ibu
else is
of
taking him, bro. Let's be real.
I'm just
You know,
saying,
like
like if,
he's stuck
I'm
with us. You
saying
know.
I'm saying like he just Iv. Does he have to like change the name? Because that could create some very funny names, I feel, you know?
Ibu of the Ringer.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Could be interesting.
yeah,
I'm sure
but
we'll
yeah,
never find out though, folks, of course. Yeah. Lifetime contract.
absolutely. Got him on that. Got him on that Suge Knight deal. Karan, 200 rupees, appreciate you. Catching up on random media interviews I missed at Mania a lot. There was a lot because yeah, of course it's Mania week. There was a lot. I don't even think I was able to catch up with everyone, and I kind of like to think of myself as an aggregator. So there's one with Cody and Miz on NBC Sports for some reason. Need Ibu to watch it and tell us if Cody hates the Miz or not. You'll never be able to tell with Cody anyway. He's
Yeah.
you know, not a real person, is he?
Ibu can't even like he's the biggest Cody fan, but he can't figure that shit out. Like Cody's poker face, brother. So you can't there are people that I think are friends with Cody that are not sure he likes them, you know? The charm.
100%.
It is weird though that Miz and Cody did a media spot together. I don't really Miz does there's not a
The
media
big baby
situation.
face winners of the weekend.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. You know, the go-to media guys at the WWF, Joe.
Hey, oh man, Miz has done he does so much damn media.
Andy, 100 rupees, appreciate it. Has Triple H peaked as a booker? He had the perfect confluence here of heel, babyface, and stakes at WrestleMania. Doubt I care about a wrestling result as much again. But the thing is, like the Cody Rhodes thing is like a culmination of things that go way past like Triple H being a booker, you know.
Yeah.
So that even if that is kind of like his peak achievement throughout like his booking career, however long that may last, it could last for decades from now, you know. Um, I know he may never top that night again, and that wouldn't exactly be a bad, like terrible thing, you know, because that was quite the night, you know.
It was pretty
So
big, yeah.
has he peaked as a booker? I don't know. I think it would be unfair to say just yet. You got to see exactly where they are going into SummerSlam, you know. Give them a few months coming out of Mania, see who's been built, what's been built, how the feuds have been, etc., etc. How have the pay-per-views been hitting? How are the houses? Because I think that obviously counts towards how you do as a booker. If they carry on this sold-out streak that they've been doing, it's like you can't, and the crowds are as hot as they are, because that counts as well. It's like it's all good having full buildings, but the people there love the shows that they're putting on for them. So.
There's still some big weaponry there too. Like if Rock is back, you've not, you haven't really done anything with him yet. He's on tag. So if you're looking at Rock working a SummerSlam, he's already said his sights are set on WrestleMania next year. Who's to say how big Cody versus Rock feels this, like in 11 months, right? You don't know. And while it probably won't be as big commercially from a critical point of view, the inevitable Gunter world title reign will, I think, be something that's pretty special too. So it's hard to say. I think there's a very good chance that when we look back in 10 years, last Sunday, whenever it was, will be what we look at as the peak. But that isn't. I don't see that as an indictment. It's like that was a lot of people will go to the grave with that as their favorite WrestleMania moment ever. So I think they'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. Scott, $6.99, appreciate you. Io and Corey in Marigold. If he's saying it out loud, I feel it could be a possibility. There could be a possibility of it happening. Who knows how the WWE Rossi Marigold relationship, if there is one, kind of how it plays out, how kind of willing WWE are to play ball and kind of give them some decent names, But of course, WWE being such a worldwide juggernaut, any sort of partnership with them would probably help start up Joshi promotion, So we'll see how that plays out. We'll talk about it a bit more probably when he gets here as well, because I've got it noted down as one of the subjects. Darren Cagey, $2. He says going to be Ibu of Cultaholic if he keeps this up. Hush $4.99. I was thinking about this. Speaking of Ibu of Cultaholic, Ibu, what's going on?
They tried to kill me, Monty.
Okay, explain.
The federal government tried to fucking kill me.
Okay.
I am late, and I apologize for my lateness, and I apologize to the audience of WrestlePurists Worldwide. I know you guys enjoy your weekly hour and about 45-minute show where the three of us talk about nothing. And you've been robbed of this fully because the federal government tried to fuck with me and my money, and I disputed this, and I disputed it, and nonsense happened, and apparently I'm not owed money by the IRS. I owe them money. This is very, very unfortunate. I was really, really angry. I had to pay large amounts of cash, not cash, but money. And it's really, really, it's Monty, when you're like, you're not mentally prepared. You have to mentally prepare to pay a large amount of money to something. You put it in your mind that I'm doing that, right? I'm putting in my mind today that I'm getting a check, So when they're like, no, you got to give us a check. It's like, wait, whoa. What are you talking about? Nevertheless, I did it. I survived. I still got a mortgage to pay tomorrow. It's really unfortunate. But this is why Monty dangerously pays me the big bucks. It's to afford these things. So I'm here. I hope I didn't intrude too much in your guys' professional wrestling conversation. And there you go.
There you have it, folks. Big intro. But yeah, back up Hangman. He's late, but he's with us now. We're going to keep going with the super chats. Hush $4.99. He says, I was thinking about this. How does AEW make flesh out fresh characters / long-term stories without impeding in-ring action time they put on their shows?
Joe Holbert speaks to this a lot. You can't adhere to one strict formula for your TV format, So I don't think you should be beholden to the idea that you need TV matches to go 22 minutes on a Dynamite.
Yeah, they have a lot of time too.
Mm-hmm.
There are great matches on the show that would not suffer if you cut 4 minutes from them. I promise they'd be fine. You wouldn't know the difference. I promise you'd be okay. I think they have
a lot of time as well, man. A lot of time, like you said.
The key with long term is you have to have that vision to know where you're going. I'm not saying they don't have this right now because I don't know where they're going. They may have Wembley mapped out, But that's the actual key with that. Like, and that was why the Hangman thing was such a big hit, because they knew where they were going, and so the audience could pick it up, right? Like, I think there's room to assume that Swerve and Ospreay is where they're going. But I don't know. Like, until right now, I don't know. So that's the big thing. It's like you have to be careful. I think sometimes you can get too close to it, and like the booking becomes, what should we do next week to make people happy next week? And that's good, but you also do need to have that ability to be like, okay, where do we want to be in September? Like, who are our top guys going to be in January next year? That balancing act is like really difficult, because if you do one too much or the other, you're going to suffer for it. So it's a challenging thing.
Yeah, it's like you said, you can't just strictly adhere to just like one or the other. You kind of just got to play to each superstar or wrestler, depending on which company, play to their strengths. You know, if you have got a guy like Ospreay, it's like, yeah, let him wrestle. You know, and on the flip side with AEW, it's like they've got Mercedes Moné. Let her wrestle. Obviously, you would assume, at this point, that she's probably not cleared, so they're in kind of a weird situation with that, because they wanted to do the Boston date, but she's not cleared. So now they're trying to do all this filler television with her, and she's not really the sort of person that you just let her wrestle, So it's like when you're filling up time because you want Mercedes on the show, you're kind of doing it to spite yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's just
honestly, I know it isn't the most glossy thing, and it'd probably be frustrating, but I think it'd be an improvement. I think they should go to full like sports style vignettes building to her in-ring return. I'd go for like reset as with her as an athlete, her getting reps in the ring, talking about like the anxiety of getting back in there after that injury, what it means. I think that'd be a lot better than like the catchphrase stuff with Alex Marvez, or like I don't think it's working at all. And there's a range of reasons for that. Like the delivery isn't good, but the content is worse. And like the way it's framed is well, I think you'd be well served to just take a step back. It may be frustrating. People want to see her in the building. I get it. They didn't last week anyway. But yeah, I would genuinely like think about what you're doing, Mercedes, because you do not want to get to a point where by the time she wrestles, people have already like made their mind up. Like,
and they're apathetic about it, right?
Yeah, that's because then you've just shot yourself in the foot, right? It's like give yourself a chance, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think they could afford another like 2 weeks of like middling Mercedes involvement on the show.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like, without being dramatic, I mean that in the sense of like, I don't think they can afford 2 more weeks without it going unscrutinized, is what I mean, rather than they can't afford it and it's all ruined. But like, I think about 2 more weeks of this and people are going to start finally going like, all right, I don't really know what we're doing here. You know,
that's the thing. I think we've all been hesitant on this because it's where are we at now? 5 weeks, and she hasn't wrestled, so we're all aware it's not like emergencies. Like when she wrestles, you'll be able to have a new conversation. But you still want to position this asset to succeed. Like you don't want to just. Last week's segment was really bad, man. Like it was really, really bad, and for a range of reasons, it was bad. The angle was like. The deal where she got attacked, like I get where they're probably going as Chris Statlander, which is interesting. I assume that's where they're going, but the way it was executed was poor. And you gotta really think about what you're doing, because there are people that probably are just following Mercedes segments. You don't want to give them a bad impression. Like I don't know. I think you got to be a little bit more delicate with these things.
I agree, mate. You didn't have to review it, so.
I didn't, That's my bad.
You got out of there last week.
You're a piece of shit for that, Joe.
I ain't there this week either, brother.
Not there this week. So hopefully after last week and kind of the reception that last week's Dynamite got, Tony Khan has one of those episodes where he's just like, yo, cage match.
Well, you got Ospreay and Claudio, so you got that, right? That would be killer.
Continuing, Hush 499. He says WWE has the 50% segments and promos, 50% wrestling, but while a lot of people complain, it achieves depth with those characters / stories, i.e. the Bloodline. Yeah, you got to give people a reason to care why the people are wrestling. There's very few people who can kind of just go in there and make you care, do you know? Like, not everyone's Bryan Danielson who can make you care about a match of him and Colt Cabana, or whatever, or whoever it is, or when he kicked out Evil Uno's teeth, It's like
the thing with
why,
this. Go on, Ibu, go for it. No, go for it. I've talked enough. Go.
I was just gonna say that's why when people try to do the stopwatch thing with wrestling TV, I don't think these things are as cut and dry as this show was good because it had this amount of this and this amount of that. It was bad because because the point of wrestling TV is to achieve things. Are you making me more interested in the people that you're presenting at the top of your show, and are you making me more inclined to watch the pay-per-view that you're building towards? And however you go about achieving that, then if it's successful, then so be it. So if a given week a TV has a longer segment than maybe usual, but it accomplished those things, and then good. But if it did that and the segment sucked and it made me less excited about what it was doing, then it sucked. So it's not as cut and dry as that. With that said, on like a WWE show, right? I could do with maybe one less. I forgot what those things are called, but like those like TurboTax recap of the night or whatever the fuck these things are called, and it's a thing from like 20 minutes ago. I could do it a little bit less of that, maybe 2 more minutes of a certain match, sure. But generally speaking, it's like wrestling TV shouldn't be judged by just this show had this amount of ring time and this show had this or that.
There's like a weird thing, and I don't want to do a bit too much on it because it's like then we're like arguing with imaginary people, but there is a weird thing right now of like story versus wrestling, which is like the dumbest thing. It's like the idea that these things are not working together is unhinged. So what are we doing with that deal, right? That's baffling to me. And it's like, as you said, it's case by case. If you have a guy who's the best promo in wrestling, having him wrestle 20-minute matches because you want to tick that box is dumb. And vice versa. We were just talking about this with other wrestlers. Like, it is case by case, show by show. What am I trying to achieve with this feud? What am I trying to hook the people on? What am I trying to get them to care about? It's like, I've been a match review guy, so I don't think I have to explain that I like the in-ring. I'm a Roderick Strong fucking stan. Like, of course I'm that guy. When I was watching Raw the other week, I sat there for a 45-minute Rock segment. They sent a couple of guys there to do moves. I turned the show off because I was interested by that. In that particular case, not always. Sometimes there's a long talking to on Dynamite. I'm like, fuck this sucks. Or Raw, SmackDown, whatever it may be. My point is, case by case, performer by performer, judge it on its merits rather than its like, conceptual kind of standing as a wrestling TV thing. Like, it's case by case.
Yeah, play to each talent's strengths and your strengths as a promotion, and also more kind of like to Ibu's point, keep a goal in mind. Like, what are you trying to achieve? I think there's a lot of Dynamites where you get to the end of it, and if someone asks you the next day, like, what happened? It's just kind of like, well, there were some like decent matches, and,
right?
Like there needs to be like something big, significant. Reward your audience for tuning in every week, by giving them something to leave with. It's, I'm not saying someone has to turn heel or you got to do a total change on every show, but just like something, So, and sometimes that can just be a match, especially when you've got some of the talent that AEW have in your Will Ospreays and your Danielsons, etc., etc. But, yeah, man.
Like Collision. Go on. Collision, for example, like a lot of collisions aren't particularly angle heavy or reliant on story advancement, but what they'll do to kind of like distinguish itself is like the wrestling that they will feature will have something that's like particularly novel. Like, all those collisions that would have like a weird, quirky Danielson dream match that it's not gonna pop a quarter, but like it's really, really unique and novel. Like, Yuji Nagata's on this week, or Jun Akiyama is on this week, or Hechicero, right? Like, that's like memorable because it's like that's a different thing. But a show that but then there will be like a collision where it's like wrestling heavy again, but it's just kind of like middling stuff that like it's just almost like match generator type stuff. Then it's like it was just 2 hours of wrestling. It depends. It depends.
Mustafa, £2, appreciate you. I think Brian goes over Ospreay. Also, run Mox Takeshita. Yeah, man, absolutely. Mox and Takeshita are just two names that you can kind of throw with a lot of just anyone who's good, and you probably like the sound of it, But yeah, Brian going over Ospreay. I think that's a real possibility.
Yeah, I do too. Especially with the Don Callis angle. That might be a factor.
I'd like to see Mox Takeshita, but logistically, New Japan would have to like sign off on that if it's for the IWGP Championship. So
yeah, of course. Anything that he does with that belt, they have to sign off on. So, Anas the Sultan, $2, appreciate you. Heyman better than me. If Tonga got close, I'd moan.
I learned this weekend.
I did see quite a bit of first for Tonga on the timeline.
I saw it coming.
He's apparently a sex
I'm
symbol.
sorry,
I didn't know this. I didn't know that Tama
did.
Tonga was a sex symbol.
You should have known it. I knew it all along, and this is why everyone getting panicked because his fucking cage match isn't stacked. He looks like he should be on TV, man. I don't know what you want me to do about it.
He got jacked. He dyed his beard. I don't know if you know. He completely because he had a great beard. He dyed his beard up. He got all jacked. He walked around shirtless. Did not put a shirt on at any point in the show. And wrestling Twitter seemed to really enjoy this, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess Tama Tonga is one of those types of dudes."
He's action figure ready, brother.
Good for him. I guess so.
Airport ready.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a moment where him and Roman are like staring at each other on screen, and people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, the aura."
Yes, I will be people.
Joe's just gonna like, I'll post a screenshot in the chat, and Joe's gonna react to it with the American flag.
Yeah, 100%. Cody Rhodes 499, appreciate you. Rossi pulling the whole main event scene of a thriving Joshi promotion, real nasty work. Marigold is a fed feeder system. Still watching though.
Actress girls, none of those girls were signed to contracts, which is why he was able to do that. So I don't know. Maybe actress girls should sign people to contracts.
Mm-hmm. Cody Rhodes 199. Watching Stan Wars in real life is kind of disgusting.
Is that about this show?
Yeah, where's that happening?
Worldwide?
Do we have scandal? We haven't even done the Kurt Angle AJ Styles debate yet.
We're never doing it.
Nah, we'll do it.
Especially since, Joe, I got to be honest, I'm all bored. I'm ready to fly.
The actual truth, I'm going to plug my video quickly, Monty. I'm sorry.
Hell yeah.
I did the match review about Kurt Angle to put an end to that because I realized quickly that people took me saying that AJ fucking Styles is better than someone as, oh, Joe thinks Kurt Angle sucks. Like, no, man. Like, I think AJ Styles is one of the best wrestlers ever, So I put that out there as a plea for forgiveness to say, I just think one wrestler's better than the other. Doesn't mean I think the lesser wrestler sucks, I have no interest in debating these things with my friend Ibu of WrestlePurists.
That was a great review. You guys should definitely check that out. And it reminded me that Kurt Angle, Mr. Anderson in the cage was unbelievable.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's great.
Fucking believable. Yeah, good
Great
stuff.
match.
Will Chisholm $5, appreciate you. If Rhea got to drop the title, that Mia Yim title run is going to be real.
Real shit, Will. Talk to him.
I told
Yeah.
I told Mia Yim the other day that I think she could be a big beneficiary of this draft, and I think the company should honestly, like, if there's anybody, because the purpose of a draft is to reshuffle the deck and see if you can make more out of the pieces and the alignments. And I think Mia Yim is somebody that is underpushed, and on SmackDown you don't get a lot of ring times. There's not much to do. I think she's somebody that could hopefully, I mean, it's up to them, benefit from this.
She needs to be on Raw. She might be able to get some time, I like Mia.
Jamie, WrestlePurist head honcho, head writer. Shout out, Jamie. £5, appreciate you. I will be taking a godly victory lap on Don't Go Live tomorrow. Amen. Drink it in. Drink it in. Big advocate of Rossi or Gava Jamie is, the big Ross man. Gleek Foley 499, appreciate it. Similar to NBA, who would be your 5 first team all wrestling for the past year? Requirement: 1 male, 1 female, 1 tag team, and 2 wild cards. Any company.
Okay.
So let's do a joint one.
Let's lock in.
For the past year. So
does Mel have to be Cody? You just seen what they've meant to professional wrestling for the last year. Total package. I feel Code's going to be hard to. I mean, I'm the least Cody Rhodes fan here, so I'll do it for you guys. I think it's got to be Cody.
All right. So I ain't gonna fight you on it, I ain't gonna fight you on it, especially in like the period that we're in right now. It's still fresh. You just won the world title. I can't.
Okay.
1 female.
I would say 2 pay-per-view main events. I would say Athena.
Not going to fight you on that one. Don't think Ibu will either. Tag team's quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is.
I'd love to say KO and Sammy.
Are we gonna let Joe win on this? Is that what we're gonna do here? We're gonna let
Well, if
Joe
you're
win on
looking
this?
the last year, you're going April to April. FTR came back in April. You know,
I can't argue the FTR either. You know, I
It's-
can't argue the. I love the
it's going
FTR.
well.
2 wild cards.
Danielson and Ospreay, easy. Danielson and Ospreay.
Yeah, that sounds right, actually.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes, Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay, FTR, and Athena.
What squad?
I think we're winning some playoff series with this team.
Oh yeah, we're winning the chip, bro. No doubt.
Who's guarding Ospreay in the paint? What are they going to do with Danielson on the perimeter?
Action cash in the corners.
Ready to shoot the three. and it's hard to score on Athena with her defense. I mean, my God,
Yeah, good call.
We're in the championship.
Mitsu, Pete, what 10 PLN? No idea what they are, but appreciate you anyway. Punk versus Draw be Punk versus Brock 2013 type of match.
I think
Do we agree?
Well,
Do we agree?
Will it be as good? I mean, that's one of the greatest WWE matches ever. But I think it will be of that mold. To be honest, I do think it will be of that type of wrestling.
I hope so. I hope so. If they can do like 60% of that match, I'd be very impressed. And I don't mean that as a slight. That match is like a masterpiece, man. That match is unbelievable.
It's like a shade under 5 stars for me. Like, it's amazing.
It's the whole way there for me, bro. I think that match is like pretty much everything great wrestling can be, if I'm being honest with you.
It's one of my favorite matches of all time.
Especially with Paul Lee's involvement, it's like, yeah, that's magic. Incredible match.
I think it's like the best CM Punk match ever.
Might be. The Cena Raw match is up there too.
I think that they're a distance, to be honest. Like, there's a distance.
Really?
Yeah. I never I always liked that Cena Raw match. I never understood the greatest Raw match of all time hype that it got.
Wow, that's interesting. All right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. There's a certain man who has plenty of TV matches in WWE that I think are better than that. That, you know.
Bob Holly.
Similar temperaments.
Well, hold on.
Take it easy.
Slow down a bit, you know. Ingles draws. €2. Appreciate you. Nice shirt, Joe. Where can I get that cloth riz?
I think, let me make sure this is right. You can get that English Draws at latenightgrinshop.com. You can get many wonderful items such as this one. You can get some black shirts, pink shirts, all sorts of great stuff. latenightgrinshop.com.
Ka-ching. Showtime Spurs, $5. Appreciate you. A great match can carry a poor story. Do you guys think a great story can carry a poor match?
It depends. I think
it depends how poor the match goes. If it goes as poor as like Jimmy versus Jay did, then not really.
But to be fair to Jimmy and Jay, now I realize what I just said could go poorly, but seriously, the build for that did also fucking suck. In fairness, right?
That's the thing. It wasn't like that was an amazing build. Because here's the thing. A great build can add enough investment in the crowd that will add heat into the building, which will then make the match better. That it will make up for some issues with the work. So Bailey versus
Hogan match.
Yeah.
Right. But Bailey versus Io was good it was very the work was good, right? But like off rip, like Bailey was armed with so much like crowd support. And I think it's because of how invested people were because of the way the match was set up for the last few months.
For sure.
So I think that's a good example right there. You know, people always like to do that whole thing of like watch this on mute. You know, thing like they do with Rock versus Hogan, but like watch like Bailey and Io on mute, and it's like a totally fine, like solid wrestling match. I think it becomes a great match because of all the intangibles, and that was mainly due to the build.
Now, a poor match for a great story, to me, there's 2 categories. Number one, mechanically, the match just sucks, right? The things are going wrong. They're messing stuff up. It's just not fundamental. It doesn't work. Everyone in the chat's talking about Triple H and Randy Orton from WrestleMania 25, maybe. I don't know.
That match is awful.
Yeah. Now the reason that's a poor match is tied to why it was a good story, in that they wrestled the entirely wrong match for the story they told. Right? Like the story they told was this is a crazy feud, and they went in there and had any other match on a house show. So poor match can mean many different things. But I will say there are absolutely matches that if you did watch them on mute, which I would never recommend anyone do ever about any wrestling, you'd be like, this ain't all that. But they are helped by the stage that's been set for them. So it's a complicated thing. Again,
Like
I kind of
every
hate
lucha brawl ever, you know.
and it's also it's just these things work together, you know. They're not.
Yeah, they do.
They, because the match you're having is supposed to be like, matching the story you've told. And also, the other thing, we're getting way too deep in the weeds here. I apologize. The other thing is,
no, this is good.
We've also got to this point where people think story is like the outside the ring stuff, and it isn't. Like the storytelling is in the ring, and storytelling in the ring doesn't mean cut scenes where you like talk to each other. You're telling a story with your physicality, you know. The babyface being aggressive is inherently telling a story. The heel being cowardly is telling a story. All of this is one package of pro wrestling, and if you don't tick every box, you'll feel it, even if you don't notice it. Anyway, I'm gonna get on my soapbox now.
Joe, I'm glad he did this because here's the thing: people do like to do this black or white thing with a lot of these topics, and I think it's good that at Worldwide we can kind of explore these things and come to the conclusion that it's not like that. Actually, a match that's going to have a lot of what you just suggested, Joe, tonight is probably going to be Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. I think a lot of that storytelling is going to happen within the work in the match and the strategies used and how it evolves over the course of the action. And if it does evolve,
Sami did a lot at Mania. You know, it's like him
because
doing the
he's a
brain
genius.
buster on the top rope. Like it's a physical action that he did, but it had a lot of weight storytelling wise to that match. You know, and Sami, digging deep and overcoming his doubts about himself, and he had to go throwback to the generic of him, you know. And
there's likely going to be a moment in tonight's match where Chad is going to be faced with the moral dilemma of, do I exploit the weakness that has now revealed itself to me, and do I just pick apart my friend in order to win the thing that I'm so desperate to win, or do I hesitate in a way that now affects my chances of winning this wrestling match? And depending on how that's executed, it'll likely signify a heel turn of some kind. This counts as storytelling, folks, and you don't need to use any words.
Dude, people still remember Brett and Piper from WrestleMania 7, 8. Numbers, dude, crazy. And they remember that match forever because of that moment that basically is what Ibu just described, you know, because of who was executing it. That also matters. If you wrote the Bloodline story and the people starring it were us three dipshits, no one would give a damn, you know. There's so many factors. Roddy Piper being conflicted about doing the right thing is really compelling to people because it's Roddy Piper, the ultimate rogue and villain, right? Like this guy's even not sure if he's doing the right thing. So it's just, there's so much that goes into the perfect wrestling match if such a thing exists, and I think it's very hard to split them because they all help each other and lift each other up.
You know what's weird about that, Joe?
What's that, mate?
The work in Undertaker versus Roman at Mania 33 fucking stinks, right? But the match actually gets interesting to me when it falls apart and now it turns into a different match. Because at first, the Taker's trying to have a Taker WrestleMania match, and it's like, you can't do it because you can't wrestle. And then it turns into like, my God, this guy is like literally finished. Like, like he's just straight up fan. And when it turns into literally like he's just struggling to do what he like is expected to do, and all of a sudden Undertaker is human and he can't sit up properly and he can't get up for the tombstone and so on and so forth. And Roman is like, in reality and in fiction, just like looking at that and almost feeling bad. It legitimately to me goes from like a dud to like a 3 because it's just kind of fascinating in that way and kind of sad.
Yeah. Wrestling's unique in that way, right? Fiction and reality can blend in a way that's very singular to wrestling. There are like two stories at play often, you know?
Mhm.
Like if you look at a moment like Kofi winning the belt, there's like two things happening there. It's
Yeah.
a very interesting thing that we have in wrestling. It's fascinating, really.
Mm-hmm.
The sword is the proof that I have lived. 199, interesting name as always. EO versus Nia for the world title in France.
I thought that said Mia, and I got so excited.
They had a good one on SmackDown, didn't they?
Yeah. Like, imagine an expanded cut on that in France. That would be like a 4.
Yeah. That would probably be pretty sick too, though, the suggested one. Like, EO and Nia would probably tear it up, would be real.
I think we might have to move EO to Raw and turn a babyface in the absence of Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying to Monty before we went live, I think they would actually be well. I think it would be a good
Turning
call.
a babyface, bro. That feels like.
You're not into it?
Like bro, she just been like the big heel in the Bailey thing, you know. So to just immediately just flip a babyface because Rhea got injured feels like hot shotty, you know.
You gotta think.
It's just
all
like
right, think about it this way.
they've got other options, bro. They've
They
got
could,
other
but
options.
To me, it's more of a thing of like, first of all, she wasn't doing heinous transgression. She was just being a bitchy friend. Like she's really just being a bitchy catty friend that talked shit about.
Man.
You know, I think you could slow transition.
She was quite a piece of shit.
I do think
you're just mean to her friend.
we shouldn't dismiss the option of just going back to Bianca Belair, right? It feels like that's always it's always one step away. Like I'm not saying it's the best, but like you could always just do that, right? She hits her finish on Nia Jax. You really think we ain't gonna be popping?
No, of course we could. You know, it just yeah. You know.
I kind of think wherever they go, I think the Raw belt should like don't go crazy with it and do like Russo shit. I think it should change hands a couple times because then it speaks to how dominant Rhea was. You know, like to have some fun with it, give some people like play around with it a little bit. It's a you're ad libbing basically.
Jaden 199, appreciate it. Ren Narita versus John Moxley should be Punk versus Mox 1 again. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
That would be funny, but they're not going to do that at all.
No, they're going to go 25.
That could.
The funny thing though is John probably thinks the House of Torture shenanigans stuff stinks too. So his way of like dealing with that is to basically make it very clear on screen, Kevin Owens and Eddie Kingston style, like this is stupid, and he's probably just gonna run through those guys when they interfere. Like he's probably just gonna give them all Death Riders, and then ultimately just beat Ren Narita in like a spirited, nice little back and forth match that went 20 minutes. That's what's gonna happen. That's what it's gonna be.
Awesome. I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, Hush 199, appreciate you. Are they having Gunther chill till King of the Ring begins?
I got told last week that he went home, and then I heard this weekend that Jenny's pregnant again. And I went, God bless. So I don't know, but for all we know, he comes back tonight. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's going to make this UK tour, bro. I want to see the big man.
I agree. I'm really excited to see what Sheamus's direction is.
Yeah.
Trust the process, 34, 499, appreciate it. TK is like Jerry Jones / old James Dolan, meddling owner who can't just sit back and write checks while hiring smart people to make decisions.
Whoa. Dolan. He went Dolan with this.
Yeah, I think this is a bit extreme. James Dolan is one of the most toxic owners in the history of sports. I know as a Knicks fan, he's a piece of work, that guy. So no, Tony has his idiosyncrasies that I preferred he didn't, but I think we're being a bit dramatic there.
Steinermath 499, appreciate it. Ibu, will AEW always be the Clippers / Nets to WWE's Lakers / Knicks?
My goodness. My God.
I'm glad that's just to you.
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess in this analogy, technically, except you know what? the Nets are pitiful. Like they don't even have fans. You know,
Yeah.
people do love AEW. You know, like it's not the same market share or relevancy as like a WWE, but people love AEW. The Brooklyn Nets are pathetic. They are the Clippers. They're the Clippers. I'll say that.
It was crazy, dude. I was there. I saw Nets Knicks at Barclays. And it was like a home game for the Knicks. It was fucking
Yeah,
insane.
bro. No, there's no such thing as net culture. And if you ever see anyone say that to you, you should smack them in the face. It's not real.
14 Czar. Appreciate you. I think Randy or Braun Breaker should beat Cody.
I don't know
I'm
if you
not
guys
even
have
thinking
noticed.
about fucking beating Cody right now, to be honest.
Yeah. That's
even.
ridiculous.
It's funny. It's like every time there's someone wins a belt, it's kind of where some fans' mind goes to. It's like
Yeah,
who
it's
drops it? It's like,
damn, bro.
So,
He's the ace, man. Like, wait until it feels like you need to beat him, really, you know?
yeah, literally.
Let
until
him.
someone could bubble up and get really hot, and it might feel it could come. But
I don't think Randy needs it. I mean, sure, you can do it, pop me, but I don't think that's what Randy needs at this point in his career, you know?
the only thing I'd do with Randy world title would be the World Heavyweight Championship, just to stat pad him to 17. That's the only thing.
I will say, now that like the belt's all freaking, it feels like when I think about that belt, it does feel like a lot of people have a chance to hold that. Like when I just think about it, I'm like, yeah, I could see Andrade winning that, and randomly, I could see Sheamus winning it. You know, so I guess that's pretty cool. But yeah, man, why are we rushing the belt off Cody Rhodes with this fantasy book? And let's relax here.
Yeah.
I noticed Randy Orton took a strategic hiatus, which is interesting.
He did? Huh.
And Joe's like, no.
That's a shame.
He was off TV last week, so I'm assuming he's gonna miss this cycle at least till Backlash.
Okay. Let me just scratch off another name from wrestlers I like watching list. I'm
I don't know.
down to 3.5.
I think we'll see Randy before. When's Backlash? What's the actual date?
May.
The very end
of May, I think it is, isn't it? Or is it April? I don't know. Great answer.
I want to say it's isn't it like not this weekend, but the weekend after?
Someone in the chat.
I don't think so.
Enough with these things, you know. WWE.
I think it's the first weekend of May.
Oh, yeah, it is. It
Saturday,
May
4th of May. See?
Yeah, May 4th.
There you go.
There you go.
May 4th.
All right. So that means Randy would be missing how many weeks? I don't know, man. I don't think he's gonna take much time off at all. So we'll see. Kale, 50 peso. Quote: "Catty friends is when I get the shit beat out of me by 4 motherfuckers at once."
I mean, when you consider what horrible transgressions happen on a weekly basis in professional wrestling, you know, it's not the, you know, that can be forgiven with a, you know, I was an asshole, you know.
No, Ibu, stop. No.
All right, what are you gonna say? You know?
No. No. She was a horrible person to Pam.
She was mean.
Bailey was pretty mean too. To be fair.
Pam was mean, and guess what?
Yeah, sorry, Pam.
Not to them.
And guess what? Bianca was gaslit into feeling bad for her after a few weeks.
Not more Bailey.
Bro, Bianca was like, fuck her. And Naomi's like,
yeah, she was.
She was like,
Bailey wasn't gaslit. Bailey wasn't the one gaslighting. Also,
everyone else.
Bro, Io was plotting from the inside, brought in all her friends to overthrow Bailey from the own group that she started. And it was like, oh, no.
You know, she waited
about turn up, flip a baby face 2 weeks later. It'll be fine.
She waited until Bailey was losing to do it. It's like a team. You know, they're like, I can't win with this player. Let's bring my trade options.
We sound like the commentary team on like an old WWF TV taping. The moral debates.
That's what wrestling content should be.
No. You know, it reminds me of Prime, Brian, and Dave when they'll like treat this like it's real, and Dave would be like, "But who are his friends?" And Brian's like, "He doesn't have any, Dave. He's been an asshole." And they'll just go back and forth. You know, and it'll be like, yeah, but everyone's an asshole. And then he'll get into an anecdotal story. He's like, "Did I tell you the day Brian Pillman ribbed this guy? I mean, it was really just awful stuff." And go into that type of thing.
Hush 199, appreciate it. Does Jey Uso have a chance of winning the World Heavyweight Championship? I think it's an outside chance, but I think
No.
prioritize other people such as Drew,
Yeah, I don't
Gunther.
think so.
Sammy could get a reign with it after he drops the OC belt.
This
As
game
Ibu said, there's quite a lot of people that you could probably put that belt on, to be honest. So Jay's in there, I think, as an outside chance, but I don't think he's very high on the list
I
of
think
people that they'll be
the
going
guys
to.
are getting back together soon. I think Jim and Jay will be
Yes.
even if more to team with Roman in trios, I got a feeling that SummerSlam. Big Bloodline 6-man tag. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Showtime Spurs $5, appreciate it. Awaiting the Nemeth Ishii WrestlePurists worldwide review, my entire section was stunned at what we were witnessing.
I'm heartbroken to admit, or just announce that I didn't see the match because I didn't watch any wrestling after Battle of the Belts. I'm starting to get to this weird point now, guys, where if I'm not home to watch it live, I'm struggling to watch it back. And last night, I was like, what am I going to do with my night? And I watched X-Men 97. I caught up to that. So,
I hear that's great.
Yeah, it's really good. You know what's funny with me, Joe? I have this unique perspective where I read the majority of the source material, like that this is from. So like, there's this weird feeling of like, it's pulling from really great stuff that I'm familiar with, and it's kind of like covering it in this cursory, like episodic way, like major story arcs in like episode by episode, right? And it's one of those things where if you've never seen the source, you're like, man, this is a really cool fucking story, right? And so I get it. But for me, I'm not saying like I'm not turning my nose up like, huh, I read the comics.
But I get it. It's a different perspective, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. But it's really cool. It's really cool. It's a really cool show. I've enjoyed it a lot.
And Jan PN $2, appreciate it. This Y2J fella will be the end of me and many others. He's pretty bad. Hush 199, appreciate it. Will the main roster draft to NXT just consist of carrions?
It's going to be people that aren't used that can really help NXT.
Carrions.
That's enough super chats for now. Keep them coming, people. We'll get them read out as soon as we can.
I want to make this mention now, Monty, since we don't review NXT, and I will never do that in my life. But I will say this: I said this to Joe actually, but I actually like the moves that they did on Tuesday, where like they kind of moved some guys down, and it's like it's all productive stuff to me. Like the Final Testament, like it's very territory wrestling. They came in one place in SmackDown. They were mean bad guys, and then they lost to the top stable. And it's like, where do you go from there? Normally in wrestling, in the old days, you just leave. You don't hang around and try to reheat yourself, right? And here it's like, all right, we'll just leave and do the same thing in NXT. But now they're bad guys for Axiom and Frazier to ultimately beat, which is productive. And then they did Ivar over. Ivar, he is overachieved as a singles wrestler. But I think we have now reached the point where it's like, we've seen the 3.25 star cool little Ivar TV match already. We've done it on Raw every week for a couple months now. So now do it on NXT and help Obafemi by giving him some experience working another big man. So yeah, I just wanted to make mention of those. I just thought it was like savvy stuff that they did there. Between that and the fact that Trick Williams is set to beat Mello and Ilya before sending those guys to the main roster while he stays in NXT as the champion.
Yeah, man. All right, so what do we want to start with today? Let's start with the big news of the day, really. Rhea Ripley reportedly injured on last week's Monday Night Raw, and there is a lot of talk of her potentially vacating the title as soon as tonight's Raw, which is starting in less than an hour. So an hour from now, if she opens the show, an hour from now, Rhea could be vacating the World Heavyweight Champion, the WWE Women's World Championship.
Yeah.
That's the one Rhea's got, isn't it? So yeah, apparently she was injured when she was through into the wall. It wasn't like the chair shot to the head or anything like that.
Right.
It's kind of a freak accident. There's no heat on Liv Morgan from Rhea herself or WWE according to Fightful Select. It was just one of those things, Of course, a huge shame. Rhea Ripley, of course, on top of being one of WWE's literally one of their biggest stars, male or female at the moment, she's been having a very dominant reign, which went up like to another gear by defeating Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, retaining at WrestleMania as the dominant champion. And it'd just be a shame if this is how such a long dominant reign comes to an end. Because it's like you want someone to get some juice out of it. You want to put someone over. You want to really do something with it. And we've spoke a few times about Rhea Ripley's reign of kind of like how it's they've really kind of like stretched it out. And I don't want to say it's dragged because I don't think it's dragged because she's such a star, but it's like it never feels kind of lifeless or anything when she's around, But she's still kind of, there is a feeling that she has only just scratched the surface of what she can do with the reign. She hasn't really had like a work rate period of the reign where she's just kind of having really great defenses. Like there was still kind of that to do. Ibu's kind of pitch that he was doing kind of following Mania of like Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, the, undefeated Mommy versus, the undefeated at Mania Bianca Belair, streak versus title, you could have done something like that. That now you could still go to it eventually, but it's lost a little bit of luster if she has to take some time off, vacate the belt, break up the reign. It does take a little bit of luster from it, although that is still a huge match. But it's just a huge shame if she does have to vacate the belt, isn't it, Joe?
Oh yeah, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. One of the biggest stars in the entire promotion, right? I think that's like
100%.
absolutely the case at this point. And as you mentioned, Mania was a kind of a stamp in that regard, and like kind of we're going to put our foot down and go even further in that direction, which I think was the right decision. It's a terrible shame, but fortunately, she is a talent that has a certain standing where it's like, I think we all have no doubt that as soon as she's ready to be back in the game, she'll be back in a major way, right? And that's the kind of, that's the fortunate thing about how much she has already done. It's like she can just slot back in whenever she's ready. But it still sucks because beyond the obvious of just her being injured, as you mentioned, this whole title reign, if it has to end, you'd have really liked it to be, someone could actually benefit from that. And instead, it seems like it could just end on this note. That would be a real bummer. Obviously, we wish her the best and the recovery, however long or whatever that looks like. We don't know yet the details. I'm sure we'll find out on Raw, but a real shame for sure. And a big blow for the TV show. Let's be real. I mean,
yeah,
that's a wrestler. She plays a lot of roles on the show. So yeah,
Yeah, big part of Mondays. She just is. She has been for a while, whether she's wrestling or not. Even if it's her own feud, just the Judgment Day stuff. Because obviously, with it being a big group, with them being such a big part of the TV, it's she's like the leader of the group as well. It's just not ideal, is it, Ibo?
No. There were points in 2023 where she was the main character of Monday Night Raw. So this is a tough one. She always got huge reactions. Depending on what this is, like I wonder if it's viable to have her travel to TV and do TV without wrestling, but it really depends because if she's in a sling just sitting in the Judgment Day clubhouse, I don't know if you would look at that either.
You want to avoid that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how Adam Cole came off when he was just wheelchair bound on AEW TV. It's just really tough, but it's really unfortunate. But this is where you just kind of go next man up. They're fortunate that a draft is happening right now, because if there was no draft, it'd be much, much worse. Now you can at least reassess and reevaluate. Okay, how long is Rhea out for? Okay, she's out for this time. We're gonna have this girl on this show then. I think this 100% affects the draft plans because of that. Because now you have to center Raw around a different woman. So curious who the choice is going to be. And as for Rhea Ripley, it's a shame, and hopefully it's not too bad. What's the deal, Monty? Is there official whispers that it's a shoulder? Is that what the talk is or no?
I think. There's pictures of her the past week of her like in a sling and shit, bro. So it's like,
yeah,
I'm sure we'll find. We'll know a lot more by the end of tonight.
If it's a shoulder, she's gonna be out around half a year. So
which
it depends what it is, doesn't it?
In fear of just jumping straight to creative, if she is out for a while, her time as a heel for now is like done. Like
over.
People already love her. If she's gone for 6 months, whatever, and that's purely, just I'm throwing numbers there. But if she's gone for a few months, she's gonna be she's gonna be more of when she comes back, because wrestling fans, that's always been the way it is, you know. So yeah, she'll be like, she's an absolute star. It's a bump in the road. It fucking sucks though. Wish her the best.
Kale 20 pesos says if she has to vacate, who do you give the ball to?
Bob Holly. I would go. I don't want Ibu to yell at me, but I'd probably just do the live thing, to be honest.
No!
I said I didn't want you to yell at me, and you still did.
No!
I think you should probably, and then I would use it to get another heel up there. I will say, just someone in the chat said Dakota Kai, and that's another way I could upset Ibu.
Oh,
The live Dakota. Money, what if we go live and then we use that to make Dakota?
Do you guys want me to call the cops?
Yes.
no, Ibu, shut up while the grown-ups are talking. The Dakota thing.
Money, Tiff Strat. Where's Tiff Strat? Can we talk about Tiff Strat? Tiffy time.
I'm very upset right now.
The Dakota thing interests me because she played such a big part in that Mania bill for Baylor.
Yeah.
You know? And she's definitely someone that if she actually did get a ball to run with, and even whether it's a short reign or not, or even just being in that mix, I think
that
could
credibility,
be huge.
man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That could be hugely beneficial to, because obviously Io has already, she's there, you know. Asuka is a fucking Hall of Famer, you know. Then, you know, car is fun and everything, you know, everyone loves car.
That's crazy.
I mean, you're not wrong. That was exactly how I'd lay it out too. So yeah,
he got the
that'd be
coat.
cool,
Like she played a big role in that feud, man. So,
and then here you go, Ibu, here we go. Then you use that to turn EO babyface down the line, because Dakota is the new, you know, she's now the new head honcho in the group. Starts being a real dick to Io Sky. The people get with EO. Next thing you know, we're in summer. The houses are up even higher. You know, we've got EO and Dakota opening SummerSlam.
You're trying to Jedi
14.
mind trick me, Holbert, and I'm not going to fall for it.
I like us working as a team, bro. That's all right, you know. Just let's throw ideas around.
My actual choice is
Nia Jax.
It is. It definitely is for Monty.
The cool thing is like Rhea's a heel, and she's been a dominant heel and stuff. And if you was gonna do a babyface thing, you would have done it at Mania. And obviously Becky Lynch was the choice for Mania, and she didn't win because you wanted to keep it on the dominant heel, because that's kind of, I guess, that's the dynamic of the Raw Women's roster that you want to keep going with. Granted, there is a draft coming up, and obviously that will completely change this conversation, but we don't know what we're going to be dealing with. However, Nia Jax would be next in line, probably, as a heel on the Raw Women's roster. Nia Jax has performed very well since coming in, and Nia Jax is definitely kind of a mountain to climb for a Liv Morgan if the crowd gets behind her enough to defeat, or then you can go to Becky Lynch. My thing is if you go straight to like a Becky Lynch or a Liv Morgan, it would feel kind of hollow, you know, depending on how they do it. We don't even know if Rhea's going to actually vacate the belt. Let's say she does vacate the belt and they do a tournament, then obviously the tournament final could just be a Nia Jax being defeated by Becky Lynch or something like that. Obviously, you've already run that match a few times though. But my point is more just keeping it on a dominant feeling heel for a babyface to then overcome, instead of just kind of someone being
giving it to him.
just being the babyface placeholder champ because Rhea got hurt, you know. So yeah, man. And obviously the Nia Jax thing would just like pop me on a personal level huge, you know. So
true.
There's that.
Has Nia Jax ever won the women's championship? Any women's championship in WWE?
She won it at Mania. I was there.
Bro, it was a classic.
It was a Mac classic. Headlock takeover, bro. Hip toss, drop down, get it again.
Beautiful story.
Wait. The Alexa Bliss one, was that the thing where like one of them was being bullied by the other one?
Nia was being bullied, yeah.
Yeah. Alexa Bliss was just being cold, you know. She
was very mean.
She was very mean. She was very spiteful.
Dave gave it 2 3/4, which is a forgotten piece of history from the haters, but you know, whatever.
Nia that year had a good one with Ronda Rousey.
Nia was like actually this, like the way people talk about her now, she was actually totally capable then. She just got so bad after that.
Yes. 20 2020 was the turning point. She just I don't know what.
The other thing with the Alexa Nia stuff was their rematches were fucking terrible. And it's one of those things where people remember like you know what I'm saying? They remember the series. Series.
I don't remember the series. I scrub a lot of like
that world title series.
That was really. It was a bad time in WWE, bro.
If you try to remember non-Big Four pay-per-view WWE from like 2018, 2019, like you're gonna shake in horror, you know.
I've told this story before quickly because we're on it. I think this is like an amazing thing that no one remembers at all. And I've confirmed it with our friend Alex to ensure it's real. The night after Mania, when Nia won the belt, she had her entrance and they went to an ad break. So it was just her in the ring with the belt for like 2 or 3 minutes. And the post-Mania crowd with all the hardcore fans stood up and chanted, "You deserve it," to Nia Jax. It was surreal. And no one, when people look back on that babyface run, they're like, why did they do that? Which is fair because it fell apart so quickly. But like, that was a real thing, dude. People were very happy in the building.
Do you remember, Joe, at WrestleMania 37 in Tampa, the crowd just decided we like Tamina?
Yeah,
yes.
That was...
There's
that one I'll never forget that. Yeah, that was
nobody meaner, brother. Nobody meaner.
Well,
so yeah, Rhea Ripley's out. It'll be interesting to see how they move forward. But luckily for WWE, I guess the silver lining would be that there is a draft coming up, so you can shuffle things around, you know. So hopefully they'll have it figured out. I am still kind of hopeful that she doesn't have to vacate, you know. Hopefully it's just kind of like a short-term injury, because it would be devastating if she's out for a long time. So yeah, that's Rhea Ripley. Why is this super chat not coming off the screen? It's not.
StreamYard can be weird sometimes. Yeah.
Oh, let's put this one up instead. No, this one's not working.
Oh no, that's not good.
You have to leave and return.
Oh, I'll do it in a minute. We'll just leave you up. All right. Rhea Ripley's injured. Spoke about that. I mean, we'll briefly talk about this for a minute because we've touched on it the past 2 days. But you know, Bloodline, Solo Sikoa, he's taken over. Joe Hall, he's turned on his brother, Jimmy.
Yes. Oh,
Joe.
Hello.
Solo Sikoa said winning and losing matters to Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And has seemingly made the executive decision to excommunicate Jimmy Uso from the Bloodline. And he didn't do it himself. It was Tama Tonga who attacked Jimmy Uso. And then he got Pillmanized. There was a chair his head was Sanders within the chair, and then boom, Solo comes in with the butt. And Tama Tonga is now a member of the Bloodline. He is being called Tama Tonga. Wade Barrett was like, that's Tama Tonga. And Corey Graves is like, he's been making waves in Japan for years. And Tama's in the Bloodline now. And Jimmy appears to no longer be in the group. And Paul Heyman was selling this whole thing like a horrifying murder scene was taking place in front of him. And a lot was being made of this online, you know, in both ways. What did you make of this, Joe?
I thought it fucking ruled. Sport of professional wrestling is back. Bloodline back in the headlines once more. You can tell Solo isn't the tribal chief, because the one would be the thumb, right? That would be Solo's signature. They would all throw up the thumb.
Okay.
It was still the four. It was the finger. It's got to be Dwayne. I study these things. I research the matter, and I think Dwayne is he's making calls. In all seriousness, I actually thought it was like a really good segment.
Yeah,
it was.
We talked about it a little bit last night. Look, Jimmy Uso can't really have matches anymore, but he is funny. And him standing there like Jar Jar Binks, popping huge, while fucking Solo Sikoa explained, like, was basically spelling out the fact he was about to kill his brother. And Jimmy being like, tell him. Big, just popping huge.
And just like how immediately like taken back and pissed off he got when Solo turned to him.
Because it suggests that the character of Jimmy Uso has no idea that he's not been carrying his weight, you know? Like Jimmy being like, wait, I'm getting what? I've been killing it, man, you know? So yeah, that was good. And Paul Lee was Paulie was genuinely great in that segment. Tremendous
Awesome,
stuff. I thought it
good
was really
segment.
good, and I'm happy for Tama. Tama Tonga worked New Japan for 12, 13 years.
Something like
He
that.
was
I was
Carl
going to say
Anderson's
11.
young boy. Well, he was Carl's young boy. So you got to think, Money. Bullet Club was 11 years ago. So like, he was there a couple years before that. Bullet Club's been 11 years now, bro. I know. So I'm really, so 2010, the chat saying, so 14-year run. Now, I'm not saying I liked all of it because, frankly, I thought a lot of it was not so good. He found himself very late in that run, I thought. And ironically, it was in a role that I never would expect him to be good at. But I think he's certainly earned the TV spot here. And look, weirdly enough, after all that time in Japan, I think he's actually probably a better fit here than he was the place where he's been working for the last 14 years because it's just the way it's worked out for him. But
The person that he is now, definitely.
Yeah, I'm happy for him, and I think he's a fresh addition to the group. Look, we're all waiting for Jacob, right? We talked about him a lot last night, Monty, you and I, like with Chuck. That's what we're waiting for. But I think Tama's he's a fresh face. I'm intrigued to see what they do with it. It was a good angle.
We are waiting for Jacob, Joe. It felt like this Tama thing. It feels like when a free agency signing is made and they go to ESPN's panel and they're like, "What do you think?" And there are people like, they're not done making moves yet. Like there's still a big piece they're waiting to acquire to really take this thing here. This is just the first domino to fall. He's Jacob. Tama Tonga was Chris Bosh, but we're waiting for LeBron. So yeah, I thought it was a good angle too. It kind of made me laugh, Monty. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, this guy Tama Tonga hit the jackpot. Think about it. He got a nice cushy WWE deal in his 40s, 6 figures, where he gets to be in the biggest stable in the world. Do you realize how easily he could have just been an NXT guy or something? Like Sean Spears, he took what they gave him. They're like, all right, look, man, you could be in the PC and you could be in NXT, be a player coach. Like, sure. That could have been Tama's fate. And people would have been like, all right, well, good for him, I guess. He got to be in the Bloodline.
Yeah.
Like, he
Same with Jacob as well, bro.
He hit the jackpot. So,
Jacob obviously a lot younger, but
great starting point though.
We spoke about it last night. So it's you're automatically a star. You're automatically just set. Like, unless you absolutely fucking stink it off in there.
Yeah.
You're pretty much set for life. You're set for life because even if he leaves to WWE in like a couple of years or something. He'll be booked because he's forever tied to the Bloodline, so he'll be doing autograph signings. People will have to see what he says and whatnot. So it's someone that just sets you up for life. But yeah,
was the holy shit chance.
It was a good angle, bro. It's like I've seen this a lot of people where it's like as if Tama's getting this sort of reaction, and it's like it's not Tama getting that sort of reaction. If that makes sense, it's more so like. The Bloodline, the big Bloodline angles, the crowd's always going to be super invested into them, And when Solo Sikoa starts speaking, the crowd always has kind of like a holy shit feel to it,
Yeah.
So like when Solo's getting into it and he's building up to like clearly turning on somebody, it's like the crowd is super deeply invested, So the crowd's super deeply invested, even if there was no Tama Tonga, and Solo Sikoa just took out Jimmy without Tama or anything, he give him the hug and then just Samoan spiked him or something. Because that's what I was actually expecting him to do. Because he was even kind of like holding him like that after he hugged him with like one hand on his shoulder to the side. I was like, he's going to Samoan spike him now, But obviously Tama Tonga jumps in the ring and it's like just the idea of the Bloodline turning on Jimmy, that's going to get a big reaction. It doesn't fucking matter who's under the... you know what I mean? It doesn't matter who's under the hood. But when the person under the hood is a jacked fucking Polynesian guy, it's like, oh shit. Then he throws up a 1, and it's like, oh shit, So it's like, I saw a lot of people doing, and a lot of it is joking, but I've seen a lot of this being like sincere, A lot of people joking, like, oh, where was the video package, But you always get that with like debuts and shit now. And a lot of that was just like joking, but there was genuinely people like, oh, how are people meant to know it was? It's like, bro. If someone debuts in a big angle, it doesn't really fucking matter, But if you are just going to debut somebody cold or something, then like, yeah, a fucking video package or something might help. But like, my point is, of course, he came in and got a good reaction because he's debuting in like a big,
It's the
important,
bloodline.
significant bloodline angle. Like, of course, it
Yeah.
was. Anybody could have.
Anytime the status quo of the bloodline is changed in a segment, like it's seen as a huge deal.
Yeah, because it hasn't happened. Like, how many people have actually been in the bloodline at this point, right? It's not like it's, it's not like something they've
It's
done.
not
Like,
Bullet
there's like,
Club.
it's not
It's not
yeah, it's not
2020's Bullet Club.
right.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of such, Tamatonga, 20
Look
years
out
signing
again,
both
brother.
Bullet Club and Bloodline shit, bro. They've got to get
He's a
2
winner,
8x10s.
brother. He's a
They'll
winner.
get 2 8x10s.
He's
Yeah.
going to
Very
enjoy his
interesting.
50s when it comes to signing things at conventions.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Tangaloa
Tangaloa may even get booked alongside him just for the.
Oh man, Tangaloa right now is texting him and going, "Hey, brother. How do I?"
God bless. We spoke about him yesterday. Big
We
fans.
did.
Big fans.
Big
He is
fan.
a very funny wrestler.
But yeah,
He is. Good for
Bloodline,
him.
a lot of moving pieces in the Bloodline, man. But yeah, good for Tama.
Tama's gonna have
await Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I was gonna say Tama is gonna have. There's gonna be a random SmackDown in like late May, where they just need to kill some TV time, and he's gonna go like 16 with Kevin Owens, and Dave it's gonna be like a 3.5 star match.
Yeah, man, he's capable of just doing that shit, just filling up TV time. He's good talker, good presence on TV, good look.
I don't know.
Can have decent matches. He's not someone who I think is going to blow anyone away, but he can have decent matches, definitely, at least, so we'll see. Happy for him. What else do I want to talk about? Ross's new promotion. Marigold. He's announced 10 dates. He announced the first show will be May 20th, I think it is. And there's a big mystery tag going on. Julia versus Sari. Both of them are going to have mystery partners. And there's all kinds of speculation of who those partners could be and what promotion those partners could be from. But yeah, there's a few names as well, roster-wise, that have been confirmed. Obviously, Julia being the big one. And I should have had this pulled up already, so apologies.
Did you guys see the Rossi's Gaijin recruits?
Zayda Steel, the
Bozilla,
the big powerhouse, and but there was one more.
Yeah,
there was one more. There was a oh, my bad. Whoever it was, a blonde lady. I want to say.
It just killed me that Rossi just found this young, large person and was like, "Bozilla."
She's jacked, bro.
That is actual real graps.
Yeah,
that is the correct way to start a promotion.
Yes,
it is.
Joe, when Muto got the pen in All Japan and they had nothing left, he was like, he looked at the exodus and the leftovers of WCW that were not signed.
It was
and and Muto said, "Hell yeah, freaking Sean O'Hare. Welcome to All Japan Pro Wrestling."
There are so many US TV guys that do tours for All Japan, and it's them this fascinating matchups.
Yes. This guy, Rossi, just looked at this woman and it's like, you already know she's gonna be in there flexing and making monster faces and things, and
they're all gonna sell so well for her as well. It's just...
She's gonna be in a squash in that first show. She's gonna be really bad, and then in a year she's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna be real.
All right, so the initial names announced. Excuse me for botching any of these. Julia, as we all know, as already said. Utami, Mirai, Mai Sakurai, Yuzuki, who is now known as Victoria Yuzuki.
That's real.
Nanae Takahashi, and now Ishikawa, and then a bunch of actress girls got announced as well. So okay, prior to the press conference, actress girls AWG announced that their advisor Fuka, along with 6 other talents, would be leaving the company with immediate effect, and that they had to meet with people planning to launch a new promotion, which obviously was Marigold. So those are the current AWG singles champion Natsumi Sumikawa, Miku Aono, Shiaki Kuki, Misa Matsui, Chika Goto, then the three foreigners that we already mentioned, Zayda Steel, Myla Grace was the one we couldn't think of, and Bo Zilla is the powerhouse player there. So again, excuse me if I botched any of those names. Actress is not quite my now, to be honest, not even Stardom and the more bigger names on exactly my wheelhouse, but I try my best. So forgive me.
This is about being adventure money. This promotion, you know that, didn't
This,
you?
this
I'm fired up, bro. It's like
This-
you
Did
said it
you
last
guys see
night. Being able to jump on at the start really does. It
Yeah,
helps,
It's interesting. Did you guys see the Tokyo Sport headline that came out 3 hours ago, where Ross
I
is?
did. Yes, there was a super chat earlier about when you wasn't here. So yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I actually think that is 100% going to happen,
So do I. Yeah,
and
I think there will be guests. We said this before, right? I think there'll be guest spots like semi-frequently at
Mhm.
first. We'll see how long it lasts because
can
those
see.
things can come and go quick. But I do think there'll be. I mean, Rossi is a true wrestling promoter. And I mean that with all the positives and negatives that come with that, you know. Like
Did you see the actual
every
quote about WWE not like helping him? So like obviously he was asked about WWE and he kind of like just laughed it off, or he was like, anyone who's like believing those rumors have been listening to too many, whatever it was he said. And then he
right,
spoke about kind of because he just reminded me now, as he said, he's like one of the real wrestling promoters. And he was like, if we started with WWE feeding us money as a sponsor, it means we fundamentally can't build up what makes a promotion run, which is like ticket sales and stuff like that. So if he wants to build it up, ticket sales and stuff like that, so the company is self-sustaining, and then the sponsors, like a WWE helping out or something
right.
like that, is then just a bonus on top. But he wants to make the promotion actually self-sustaining first. So
Mhm.
he wants to do it properly, man. He wants to do it properly. So,
Yeah, I don't think it's
and he's done it
unfathomable.
before. So
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know the situation, but I certainly wouldn't dismiss it. It's just he's funding it. I don't. You know, I wouldn't doubt it. It's also a
Rossi
different
money.
market too. It's not like, you know, and I don't want to be disparaging, but I don't think he's having to throw millions around. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's a different market altogether. Um, so yeah, it'll be interesting. He's a very interesting fella. I'm sure there'll be some interesting tactics along the way that emerge from these first few shows. We shall see. I'm going to be watching, I think.
Yeah, man, I will be as well. So yeah, as I was, I kind of speculated about earlier, Rhea Ripley is opening Raw tonight, and
Yeah.
I'm seeing in the live chat that Sheamus is wrestling Ivar, but I've not
Yes,
seen that yet.
I
But
got,
I
I got.
will. I have faith in our live chat to not
You
lead
know,
us wrong.
he is. I was told actually 15 minutes ago that this Raw is pretty much all wrestling. Hilariously, considering the conversation we had earlier, so like this is going to apparently be an quote all wrestling episode of Raw outside of 2 promos from Rhea and Cody. Rhea's gonna presumably relinquish her belt, I'm assuming, and Cody's gonna cut a quick promo late in the show. But other than that, it's just all wrestling.
Got you.
Yeah, man. Well, we've got Chad versus Sam and Sheamus is wrestling, so we're all ready for like
Jey Uso's facing Finn Balor. Andrade's facing Dominic. They're gonna do DIY
Yeah,
versus.
man, it's
They're,
good shit.
they're doing DIY, Creed Brothers, and New Day in a 3-way qualifier. So it's just gonna
Yeah,
be a
man,
match show. Yeah.
it's good shit. It's good shit. Hopefully it delivers. Um, you know what? Fuck it. Let's talk about good old Kenny Omega. Because over the weekend he spoke pretty candidly on the All Out thing. And it's like he didn't say anything hot. He didn't say any hot takes or anything like that about it, or he didn't like take any shots or anybody really. And it was more just talking about like what he was able to do in the situation. And if you just excuse me for 2 seconds, whilst I do a bit of scrolling to pull up kind of a summary of what he said.
Good.
I
Because,
haven't done any of these things, but the clips always pop me. Kenny just seems to be in a pretty chill place, and he's very like reflective and self-aware, and
He's awesome.
seems to do a lot of like self-analysis, and he's kind of self-deprecating in a way too. He's just he's very chill and humble, and so
he's so watchable in that setting. Like,
yeah,
he's one of those guys who you'll have it on and then you'll realize you're watching it for 30 minutes, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It's really, really fun to watch.
It's crazy, man. It's not. God bless Kenny Omega. You just be chilling.
Yeah, very, very. I think anyone could watch 10 minutes of him on stream, and I think you'd struggle to not like him afterwards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he's the type. Plus, I mean, we see it on social media. It could be the most bad faith person, kind of like taking a shot at him or his work, and he'll kind of just throw his shoulders up, and be like, maybe you have a point there. I don't know.
He may have fixed Dave too, by the way.
Yes. He made Dave feel bad for just throwing 5 stars around, and so now Dave's going out of his way to not.
we'll see.
I don't know, man. There's been a couple that I think.
Listen, it was Fletcher Osprey got 5. Kenny was like, "This is bullshit," and now Dave is like, all of a sudden he's making better use of the 4 3/4. You know.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's still early. It's still early days. We'll see. But anyway, Kenny Omega on his Twitch, as I said, he has a real good time. Playing like Street Fighter or whatever it is he plays. Final Fantasy. Can't remember which one it was, but 3-hour stream, and he spoke about a lot of things. Like I said, his involvement in Brawl Out. Being his biggest concern was the safety of CM Punk's Larry, because it was obviously a vulnerable dog. He spoke about his love for pets, blah blah blah. But yeah, he was quite interesting because he was saying that like sometimes he believes fighting can be the answer, and it makes him a liability just as somebody who grew up doing a lot of contact sports, fighting and stuff like that. He's seen the positives from kind of like 2 men throwing the dukes up and settling the differences like that. So he spoke to that a bit. And just basically believing that he shouldn't be an AEW EVP in 2024 because of just kind of his mindset towards those things. But basically he spoke about his involvement in Brawl Out and just kind of his dynamic as an EVP, and just kind of being in that situation. I found it quite interesting because if he doesn't believe he should be an EVP, why is he an EVP? Oh, just don't make him EVP. I'm not saying don't pay him any less or anything. And I get that it's like a title thing and stuff, but at the end of that, like, why? It's just silly, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, if he is an EVP, he's an EVP, bro. Like, he's an executive vice president of AEW. And it's cool. It was a cool idea at the start, maybe, to give them all EVPs because they were part of the foundation of what made the company to begin with. But if he's going out there, even if that's how he feels, like the fact that he can just go out there and just be like, yeah, I don't think I should be an EVP. Like, that's not a good look business-wise, is it? As much as I love Kenny and I wouldn't hold that against Kenny, it's more of a Tony thing, to be honest. Of like, like if he doesn't want to be an EVP, because it does not sound like he wants to be an EVP and he enjoys not having the actual responsibilities of an EVP, even though he's now still got the title. Doesn't really feel like a title that he's ecstatic about having, So it's a weird one, isn't it?
It is. I honestly think it's as simple as they didn't want the fallout from like taking those titles away from them, especially at the time that the Elite re-signed. I think that would have been like perception-wise would have been an issue more than anything else. I understand that's dumb, but this is professional wrestling. I think if they'd have re-signed and there was like a formal thing, they are no longer EVPs, that would have caused done more harm than good publicly.
No, yeah, 100%.
It's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I honestly think it's just a formality.
Just a
Kenny
thing,
is so honest on that stream, dude. Like, like I say this with love, he's alarmingly honest in that it truly feels like he's giving you his complete, total sincere thoughts at all times, which from professional wrestling is like kind of jarring almost. Yeah. He's very, very honest.
Even if some of the things he says is kind of like, I don't want to say reflects poorly, but it's kind of like, because like, when you're in a company, like there's politics involved, and you can't like say something that like maybe reflects a certain way on you or where you work, but like he'll just kind of be like, yeah, maybe we're wrong on that thing, or maybe I was kind of like off on this. I don't know.
You know, obviously remember that famous report from, I think, was it last year or the year before, where he told the locker room that he wouldn't have hired 80% of them.
Yeah. My perception of Kenny for the longest time, and it's actually kind of been confirmed by I think that he loves professional wrestling, but he thinks 90% of the business of professional wrestling is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think these streams are pretty much like, I think he kind of scoffs at a lot of the stuff that, you know, we all spend our days talking about, and the latest story and drama and gossip.
Yeah.
Like, his response to it always just seems to be like, it's kind of dumb.
You know that's true, Joe, because like at the early days of AEW, like in all of his interviews, he always said like, I just want to be a part of a wrestling company in an environment that's like positive and not toxic and it's just healthy and like we can just kind of do our art and da 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 da. He always talked like that, and I think he was a big part of a lot of the fans' almost perception / desire for AEW to be this kind of kumbaya thing, because it seemed like he, if nothing else, was doing his best to perpetuate this, because you know he wasn't a part of any American weekly promotion, and it was almost one of those things where it's like he definitely wanted AEW to like break the cycle of just like wrestling bullshit.
For sure, yeah.
And so like that's why he always perpetuated and made that like a big thing anytime he spoke. I remember I used to watch in the pandemic. I had a lot of free time, so I was just watching podcasts and stuff. And anytime Kenny spoke, like that was a big theme of the things he would say about AEW. And I think now that AEW, like any other, because that's how it is, AEW is officially a professional wrestling company. You know, that comes with all the things that come with being a wrestling company. I think you've seen kind of Kenny look around and go like, I think that's stupid, you know. So
it feels like you have to detach yourself to a certain degree, right? Because it's like, I think Kenny is accepted that the company is what it's going to be. I don't run the company.
Mhm.
When I'm around, I'm going to do my absolute best to make it better and do the best professional wrestler. And
That's
the attitude I get. Anyway. Sorry, what was you going to say?
He seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And wrestling is far from a straightforward business. So it is. But anyway,
he rules is the point. That's the conclusion.
Yes.
Not super chats. That's not what I was going to go to. He also spoke on kind of a little bit of a health update, really, regarding his diverticulitis, and I was going to say recovery from that, but it's very much still something he's dealing with. But apparently, he's on these new supplements now, and they've been helping him pretty drastically. I think he made a point of shouting them out. Life Med, that's the one. Life Med supplements helped a lot with his inflammation. He's being able to eat properly. He's drinking more fluids without feeling discomfort. And aside from feeling sensitive to the touch for a quick second, he thought to himself, "Oh my God, I'm going to be able to go back without surgery." But no. He said the first time he takes someone's double foot stomp, even if it's from Marco's stunt or Rio, something is probably going to blow, even if Dobby's cat walks on him, and that's a 21-pound cat. As good as he feels now, in his day-to-day and training, once Impact starts to get involved or he has to use his core to do heavy lifts, that's when things start to get dangerous for him, and he's going to make sure it all gets taken care of. So pretty much confirming that he is going to get surgery on his diverticulitis. So as much as we are enjoying these streams, I don't think we're going to be seeing him competing in the ring anytime soon. But of course, that takes a back seat when he's dealing with a pretty serious intestinal issue such as diverticulitis. So wishing him all the best. I guess in the meantime, hopefully he does more of these streams, because as we've all just said, we are very much enjoying them, even if we can't watch them in full.
Absolutely.
So yeah, shout out Kenny. We've got about 5 minutes left. Cody Rhodes had his first week as champion. He had a big Raw. Triple H introduced him and everything. He had the segment with Dwayne, the belt swap, which was weirdly awkward. He then got a gift off Dwayne. Dave Meltzer's reporting in a newsletter that Rock apparently prefers a match with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41 now.
Yeah.
And he's been presenting ideas to defend the People's Championship. Oh, man, I fucking love Dwayne. Anyway, I guess in regards to his actual win at WrestleMania, obviously everyone already knows and was expecting kind of like Steve Austin to be negotiated with for WrestleMania spot, and was expecting him to be kind of in the spot that Undertaker was in, but as expected, they were, according to Dave in the newsletter anyway, they were in talks with Steve, but couldn't come to financial terms, which was quite a weird one, you know.
He's about business, bro. He don't give a fuck about the pop. Steve is very, he takes that shit seriously.
And yeah, Coven as going to kind of stayed on Cody. He opened up the show on SmackDown as well, because obviously he's champ of both brands, technically, you know. And yeah, he's basically setting up his number one contenders little mini tournament. And there was 2 triple threat matches, both won by AJ Styles and LA Knight. And now they're going to face each other this Friday to determine who's going to be the number one contender for Backlash, you assume. I think it's going to be AJ, who is looking very sharp at the moment, isn't he, Joe?
He is. He was tremendous his last 2 performances. Friday, the latest evidence of a long going case that he's probably the best triple threat wrestler ever, right? Like, he is the best at doing the kind of flashy, exciting triple threat, but tying it together logically, involving everyone at all times. Made him in a SmackDown was a hoot, dude. Yeah, but you liked it a lot, right?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. The way he has these matches where like all 3 guys will be tied together for spots there's just always so much ideas and so much creativity. And I do have to concede and admit that AJ Styles is back. He is certainly back. I'm back on the train. I'm ready to fly. I am. And I think
I can't wait for this Cody match, dude.
Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty fucking great, to be honest with you.
So do I.
Yeah, probably.
I think our
probably.
I think our perception of these like WWE pay-per-views are going to be much different now that Cody is likely going to close all of them with like really good matches. You know, not to take anything away from like Seth Freakin or Roman Reigns, but I think it's different than Cody sending the fans home happy with a 4-star match every month.
So I guess kind of just to close this out, because it's something I did kind of want to talk about a bit more expanded, like Cody's first week as being the fucking crowned man, But for you, big Cody guy, a lot of people see you as one of the big Cody fans, supporters, leading the pack over the past year or so. It's been a pretty cool week. Then obviously we're going into this week, as I tweeted on the WrestlePurists account earlier. Like, he's bringing the belt to the UK, brother, starting this Wednesday. The first Rose to bring the World Championship to the UK. But yeah, man, it's just cool to see, isn't it, Ivo? The king has been crowned.
Yeah, the game has been completed. The game has been completed. I got what I want out of professional wrestling.
It really does feel like a season finale for Ivo, It really does. Bloodline Civil War. About to go into part 2. It's a good shoot, man. But okay, we got a couple of super chats in and we're actually going to get out of here. Will Chisholm, $5, appreciate you. I'm tired of QWW fans trying to book Julia kicking Io out of Damage Control. She's going to NXT whenever she comes. Yeah, it's already been pretty much reported that she's going to NXT when she first comes in anyway, which makes sense. She's never been on TV before, So, Songanda Chonko, 35 Zar, appreciate it. Who would you pair Mello, Tiff, Bron, and Jade with on house shows to fast track their progress? Feel Mello's progress has stagnated. IMR.
Good question, bro.
Tiff can work anyone. Jade, you've got to be the most careful with. Mello, really, I think Mello's more so a coaching thing rather than just giving him reps out there. I think he really needs to kind of find who he is and refine who he is as a in-ring worker and pick a lane, Bron Breakker, I just think he's just naturally just going to beast through his progression.
Who are the mid-card veterans at the minute? I'm not saying they don't exist. I just can't think of them. Who are they right now?
Oh man, you got me on the spot. There's loads, bro.
They're all top guys now.
They're all top guys.
Cameron Grimes is good. Legitimately, Cameron Grimes is good.
Ricochet.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It's just I'm blanking, and we're going into Raw time right now. I just want to. Does Jacob debut killing the Usos or Raw? He might kill Jay. Kale, 50 pesos. Corey from Fightful seems to be teasing Roxanne versus Judy as a direction right now. I wonder if they would have her. I'm I mean, they're teasing it themselves, and I think Corey's just kind of going off what they're saying, unless he's actually reported it. I know he does the edit, but he's very, as someone who's been reporting it, Corey has very much been kind of like, he's fired up about this Julia thing, man. So he's been getting off a lot of tweets about it. So
he has been posting gifs of like Roxanne followed by Julia, so people are kind of that's what they're.
but that's what they've been teasing on screen anyway. So like when Julia was on screen, like, they made a point of like Roxanne looking over it. But anyway, Hush 199. I want DJ and Code at 41. At 41, it means he won't retire. I mean, Dwayne ain't going. No, Dwayne ain't retiring, bro.
He's telling people he's in it for the long haul, whatever that means.
Dwayne's back, bro. Especially after getting through that match last weekend and he doing so commercially well and stuff. Like he is not stopping wrestling. But anyway, on that positive note of Dwayne not retiring, we're gonna get out of here. Back tomorrow with the Raw review and a very interesting episode of Don't Go Live. Because of course, Windy City Raw will be reviewed. They're going to talk in a lot better depth than we did today about Ross's promotion, Julia, and all those things. So look forward to that. And yeah, we're going to get out of here. Let you guys enjoy Raw. Please like and subscribe on your way out. If you remember to, if you're watching this on catch up, replay, leave a comment. Much appreciated. And when I sign, thanks for watching. Peace.